Homeschool parents, this is a message for you. As a homeschooler, I know you work hard for us. You have many different things to manage.
Our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program is your roadmap to a successful Waldorf homeschool journey. Gain the confidence you need to be the teacher your child wants and transform your homeschool experience. Homeschooling with Waldorf Essentials is one like no other. You not only have curriculum options, you can also add our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program onto your curriculum. What's in the Thinking, Feeling, Willing program? Rhythm, inner work, temperament, the Waldorf curriculum, learning and strengthening your skills in music, circle time, form drawing, handwork, painting, drawing, modeling, festivals, reading, writing, spelling, eurythmy and movement, and our bonus content. Something else you'll get when you join Waldorf Essentials that you will not find anywhere else is the community, and we all need that as homeschoolers.
This is your invitation to fill your cup. We know you're rooting for us. We are rooting for you too.
Welcome to this week's podcast. So in this week's podcast, we're going to divide things into two like we normally do. We have our piece that's for the public, that's just a lot of good general content. And then we have a little bit more that we'll go a little bit deeper on. But today's topic, we're going to talk about the Waldorf main lesson block and also incorporating Waldorf. If you're maybe you're not a Waldorf homeschooler and you're trying to sort out, how do I bring Waldorf into my homeschool? And I'm not ready to dive in deep really quick. So let's start talking about from the beginning here. If you're brand new to Waldorf, you're really attracted to Waldorf, I'm going to say, do your homework. So we have a lot of podcasts that you could go through. There's a lot of content. We have great pieces on our social media, but definitely do your homework. Take the time to learn from people who have been down this path and who have walked it for a long time. Also, if you're purchasing a Waldorf curriculum, just going to say that as a curriculum writer, we really like it when people read what we wrote. So take the time to read your curriculum from the beginning to the end. And if you're using a curriculum like ours, then you have a course that comes along with it. That course has training videos in it that sort of help you step by step go through some of the pieces that we're going to talk about today. So I'm just saying that is like super, super important. It is more important to do that than it is to open your curriculum, whether it be a digital or a hard copy, and be like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. Start at the beginning. It's really important that you start at the beginning, because curriculum writers like me, I can't say for everybody, but for sure, I spend time like helping you navigate those nuts and bolts, all of those questions that you're going to have right from the beginning. So take the time to read those front pages. And really, in our curriculum, it's only about 15 pages before you get to the actual curriculum pieces. So start there, start with those pieces, then dive into understanding the curriculum. But let's sort of back up a little bit. Let's talk about like the way we do things in Waldorf. So Waldorf is not like other curriculum. In Waldorf, whether it be homeschool or in a school setting, we teach in blocks. And basically that means that we tackle one chunk of content at a time. So it might be a history concept, or it might be math concepts or science concepts. But within that block, with the exception of math, within that block, say it's a history block or a science block, we are also bringing in the writing pieces, the grammar pieces, all of those things that your child needs, because you're writing every week. So you're doing a writing piece every week, you're doing an art piece every week, and all of that sort of works into then that history block or that science block. So I want you to keep that in mind. So a main lesson block is usually anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks long, sometimes a little longer. I tend to keep mine around like 4 weeks or a month. And some of them, of course, end up being 3 weeks, but we generally try to keep them for our personal homeschool and in writing in our curriculum. We try to keep them around 4 weeks or so. And that doesn't mean you have to stop there. You could absolutely keep going if you'd like, or you can find ways to condense if that works better for you as well. But just keep in mind that what you're doing is you're really focusing on one subject. So in Waldorf, we're not bringing in math every day and English every day and history every day and science every day and all. We're not bringing all those pieces in. We are focusing on one piece of content. And again, say we're talking about, let's just take Greek mythology, for example. You're still doing some drawing. So there's that art piece that's there. And you're going to be doing some writing on a regular basis. And in Waldorf, we do writing about twice a week, once to twice a week. And we do art about once to twice a week, especially in those lower grades, under fifth grade. And we're really sort of doing that because we're working into a rhythm, and we're also making sure that we're letting the content go to sleep so that they have that opportunity to let it digest before they're working with that content again. We also really like to use the concepts of thinking, feeling, willing within our lessons. So even though we use a traditional Waldorf 2-day lesson, there are some people that use a traditional Waldorf 3-day lesson block or lesson plan. It doesn't really matter as long as you're getting those pieces in there. Your thinking pieces, so your pieces that are like, that's your writing, that's your, really working on those pieces that are more attuned to things that you would be thinking about. So again, you're writing, you're digesting the content. Your willing pieces are also, that's a writing piece, and that's also your drawing. When we're sitting down and doing the art pieces with our children, we are helping develop their will. And that feeling piece comes from the content itself. So we're not giving dry content. And Waldorf, we really expect our teachers to own the content. So you're not just a facilitator. Often in other homeschool methods, you're just regurgitating or going through workbooks. Waldorf isn't like that at all. Waldorf is about you owning that space as a teacher. So you are going to figure out all of those pieces about Greek mythology that maybe you don't know, so that you can bring them to your child. And it's a bonus if you have several children. I have 5 children. So by the time I was doing Greek mythology for the 5th time, I was like, I've done this 4 other times. We're good. So you get this opportunity to practice with each child. But even if you've only got 1 or 2 children, take the time to really understand the content. And when you take that time to understand the content, you're a better teacher. Your children they just want to hear you. They want to hear what you have to say because they know that you prepared. And when your lessons are falling short, you have to ask yourself, did I really prepare for this? Do I know this content through and through? And it's always best, in my book, if you get up one morning and you don't feel like you know the content through and through, go to the park that day instead and take that time that in the evening to really gain the pieces that you need. And I'll give you a for instance. So we are working through a physics block with my 6th grader right now. And I really wanted to bring the sunrise to her. We live in Florida. I wanted to bring her the sunrise over the ocean. Well, we had a lot of rain last week. So I skipped the lesson and I waited because tomorrow we'll have sun and we can do the sunrise over the ocean. We can do the lesson properly. So rather than skimping or finding a video about the sunrise, I just looked at our schedule and made it appropriate for the timing that we had. So definitely take that into account. But remember, the only way to do that is to really take the time to plan and to really take the time to sit down, breathe out, and ask yourself, what is it that I'm bringing to my child? And I've seen these ads that are like, if you have to plan your homeschool curriculum, it's not for you. Hold up, because here's the deal. Do you want your child to have a, a half done lesson, or a lesson from you that's not prepared? Or do you really want to take the time to prepare? That makes that beautiful piece, especially with Waldorf. That's what sets Waldorf apart from other things, is you're taking that time to prepare. And you know what I know? I know you can do it. I've helped hundreds of thousands of families over the years really get to that space of like feeling confident in themselves. So it's super easy to go like, oh, I just washed my hands of it. There's too much information. I just don't know where to go from here. Really, though, take a breath. Come to office hours. Let us coach you. Take a breath. Read your curriculum and go from there. Like, take the time take the time. And if there's something that you don't know or don't understand, ask for help, because that's what's really important. You were drawn to this method for a reason. So sort that piece out. And often it's actually for the parent. It's definitely for the child, but it is helping us within our inner work to come away with like why we make blocks for ourselves, or why we end up being in our own way. So this is an opportunity for you to sort of get through that and really work to be your child's best teacher. So also, when we're looking at the block content, I want you to remember that we're keeping it age appropriate. So in Waldorf, we have these blocks, but we also have a spiraling curriculum. So once you get in about fifth grade, from there on, so fourth grade and under, it's all very beautiful. All of it, the beginning to end is very beautiful. But in fourth grade and under, it's definitely a lot more story. There's a transition in fifth grade, still some story, but you're getting some more historical content. And what's beautiful is that same content for fifth grade, that Greek mythology content, you're going to revisit again when they're in 10th grade, that ancient cultures content. So you want to be careful to not give everything to them at this point. So you're only giving the age appropriate pieces. As they grow, they come in contact with the content again from a different perspective, as their minds are expanding and they're ready for more things. So don't feel like you have to cram everything you know about Greek mythology into these lesson blocks. Do not do that, because you actually have time, and even if you don't get through everything, you have opportunities to do that later. So the other thing about these lesson blocks is you might have 2 history lesson blocks. You might have 2 math lesson blocks, 2 science lesson blocks. Um, their content might be different. So for instance, with history, let's just take that for class 5 history. You would have an ancient cultures block, which would cover Egypt and India, and then you're going to also have a Greek mythology block. So you actually may end up with 3 history blocks in that one year. It really will depend on the content for your child's year as to how many blocks that you will need. And it really just takes time and sort of sitting down with the curriculum. We have a great curriculum chart that's free on our resources page that sort of helps you break down maybe your child's coming to Waldorf later and you're trying to see, well, what is it that they've done and they haven't done, and that's really helpful to them. So again, age appropriate, don't try to do it all. Take a deep breath. Remember, you're not offering a college course to your child. You're really just you're like giving them this wedding space of getting them hungry for the next pieces. Now, if you are somebody who is coming to Waldorf and you're not ready to put both feet in, and you just want to maybe you want to dip your toes in with a math block or some drawing. So again, I would keep in mind that we teach in blocks. So take that in, and maybe you're doing something else, but you want to sort of have a running Waldorf piece to that. So maybe you're doing some drawing and art concepts, and then you're bringing some math concepts as well. Again, just remember, because we teach in blocks, you wouldn't be doing math for all 180 days of your school year. You might be doing, at least not in the younger grades, you might be practicing some concepts, but you're going to come to a point where you've got this main lesson block and then you're letting the content go to sleep. And while the content is asleep before the next block, we do definitely practice some of those things. So say you've got a second grader or a third grader, you're going to bring them that main lesson block, but then you're going to do things in your everyday life that sort of augment that naturally. So you'll be counting together. Maybe you're skip counting while you're on a walk, or maybe you're giving simple word problems like, gosh, we have 6 plates, but we only have 4 people here that are eating dinner with us tonight. Could you set the table for the right amount of plates? Or how many are left over? That kind of thing. So you want to find ways in your everyday life that you can bring those things in, and definitely practice on a regular basis if you're bringing mathematics that way. But just remember not to cram everything in there. That is not the Waldorf way at all. The Waldorf way is to take your time and to really just allow your child to unfold, allow that space of you being their teacher and their mentor and walking with them to unfold. And you really can only do that if you take your time to really learn and really consider what it means to be their teacher. So again, take your time, breathe out, and join us. We are super excited. If you have just come on board, or you're trying to decide whether or not Waldorf Essentials is right for you, we bring all of this content to you in our office hours every month. We have planning sessions together, and we're really easy to find either in email or on social media. So we hope that you will join us, and we will see you later.
The vision of education has changed. More and more families have seen the benefits of homeschooling and are choosing a different life. Our desire is to bring together qualified teachers with families who are yearning for a Steiner-centered experience. We are a worldwide virtual school. Our goal is to give every child the opportunity to have a true Steiner-centered education at an affordable price, all while allowing families the flexibility to follow their passions. We invite you to attend our question and answer or send us an email with all your questions and start envisioning how Seasons of 7 can help your family live their best life.